Hey there, welcome back. Um, so, today I'm going to be talking a little bit about gratitude. Um, of course, you're probably very well aware that there are some health benefits of gratitude, so I won't bore you with a list or anything. But today I kind of was taking some time to practice gratitude for myself and had some insights that I'd like to share with you that I think may be beneficial. So, um, stick around so we can get into that. But before we get into all that, let me just introduce myself. My name is Nicole, and I am a board certified nurse practitioner. Also, I am a health coach and consultant. Um, and on this channel, I try to provide health tips and health information to Black women ages 40 and over. Also, working on creating a life that I desire and inspiring you to do the same. So, if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel and hit that thumbs up button so that I will continue to be able to provide you with information and content along those lines. So, getting into the reason for today's video. Um, First of all, let me just say, I am in the beautiful city of Mexico City today. And if you watch my last video, you'll know that I am here. I was here to meet up with about 100 Black women who are planning their sabbatical or are on a sabbatical. And so I'm kind of in the process of planning my own sabbatical. So if you want to come along for the ride, go ahead and follow me on this channel as I kind of work through the process of figuring out what that might look like for me. So let's get into today's video. I was actually inspired to make today's video because I was watching Ashley in Africa, and she is a young lady who has moved to Africa, and she had done a video and was talking about some of the things that she is grateful for. And she recommended that her viewers make a list and of 10 things that they're grateful for. And me, being the good student that I am, I went ahead and I made my gratitude list. Thank you. I think I get an A for effort. Um, but as I was going through my list, I had an opportunity to reflect on being grateful for a couple things. One, of course, peace of mind. Peace of mind is priceless. Um, but one of the things that she mentioned that really, really, really resonated with me in her video was the fact that she has chosen to settle down in Africa um, going forward. And she was talking about how she feels safe. She feels that she has community. She feels validated. And especially as a Black woman, it seems to be a really good fit for her. And she was really grateful for that. And as I was going through and reflecting on my own gratitude list, it just reminded me of my first opportunity to travel out of the country, out of the United States of America. And the first opportunity that I had to travel, it was to Africa. I went to West Africa to a small country called Liberia. And it really was life changing, to be honest. It really, really helped to influence and impact my perspective. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of the things that a lot of perceptions that I had and had taken as truth. And it really helped for me to begin to, I guess, question certain things that I had been told going forward and appreciate the opportunity to travel. So I want to just spend a few minutes here sharing with you some of my key takeaways from that trip. And I would just have you remember that this was back in 2010. So this was before social media, before the great internet came along where we were able to share information. And as I was reflecting, I was just thinking about how valuable those lessons were to me and still are to me today, especially as I'm planning for my own sabbatical going forward, because I definitely was left with some key information. So I'm going to grab my notes so I can share that with you here today. Um, but before I go through that, there was a quote that I came across, and what it said was, sometimes you don't realize the weight of something you've been carrying until you feel the weight of its release. And I don't know who wrote the quote. There is no author listed, but that really kind of sums up my feeling and how I felt after having an opportunity to travel to West Africa back in 2010. And I'm really grateful to have had that experience, and a few things that a few key takeaways that I want to share with you from that experience. And then the benefits of travel. This, I kind of want to just kind of give you maybe a little inspiration for why it may be helpful to have an opportunity to travel outside of your normal environment, and the ways in which it can impact you. And sometimes there are ways in which it can impact you that we can't even articulate, but I'll do my best here to share this with you. But I remember it was so interesting, and I laughed when I got back because a lot of people were like, what was your experience like, and what are the biggest things that you learned? And one of the most impactful lessons that I recall from that was that, honestly, I realized that I had been lied to about my freedom here in the United States of America. I realized that I felt a sense of freedom when I was in Liberia that I had never experienced here in this land of the free and home of the brave here in the United States. There was a sense of ease and freedom. I probably can't even put it into words, but I will say that it was a freedom of feeling othered, a freedom from a constant awareness that I was Black and that I had to make accommodation to white people for my Blackness. It was a freedom from feeling like my Blackness somehow made me deficient, unqualified, or less skilled than my white counterparts. It was a freedom from feeling like I needed to prove myself as qualified. It was a freedom from feeling like I needed to overachieve, to outperform the deficiencies of my Blackness. I realized that in the United States, I was free to follow the rules. I was free to follow the laws. I was free to follow the norms that had been established by the white people who had decided what the system would be like. And if I didn't follow that, I was free to go to jail. So it's a whole different sense of peace and freedom. And so when I heard Ashley speak about feeling free, I could definitely relate to that. It really, really resonated with me. Another key lesson, I guess, that I found pretty surprising that I took away was I realized that I had been lied to about poverty. I had been told that the worst thing that could ever happen to me, outside of being born Black, was to be impoverished. And I'm not saying that that's not a terrible experience. I mean, I grew up in poverty. But I began to realize that here in America, I was running my whole life. I was running from poverty. The difference is that when I was over in Liberia, I definitely saw poverty. But in the midst of that poverty, I saw happiness, laughter, joy, community, and people being taken care of and taking care of each other. I realized that in America, our poverty disqualifies us from feeling like we can have happiness and joy and community. And I just realized that poverty wasn't the worst thing that could happen to you. Um, I saw children and families and communities coming together to support and to take care of the people who were more needy, to feed the people who were in need, not to reject them and castigate them. Another big lesson was that I realized I had been lied to about the capacity of my people to excel professionally and intellectually without doing things the American way. Being over in Liberia, the president, George Weah, is a young black man. And not only that, but the governors and the senators and everybody there is black. All the people in power are black. And in as much as we tell ourselves that it doesn't matter, that we don't see people in power who look like us, let me tell you, it matters. It had such a huge impact on me to see black men, young black men, in these positions of power, in these positions of authority, working to help their community, especially being a black American who grew up in the 90s in the Midwest of the United States, where there was a war on drugs. And most all black men in my communities and neighborhoods were being jailed. And I was being told and taught in what I saw that black men could not obtain or achieve anything of value and could not contribute anything of value to our families and our households, and that we as black families were subjected to suffer because the black men weren't going to do what they were designed to do because of some internal flaw. So I realized that that was a myth. It was a lie. I learned that I didn't have to overwork. I had the privilege of being able to enjoy not having to cook while I was over there, not having to clean, not having to drive. I didn't have to iron my own clothes. And I realized that, wow, here in America, we really are overworking ourselves. So me, for example, going to school, getting all the degrees, being a wife, being a mother, taking care of the household full time, cleaning, doing all the cooking, rearing up the children, working 1 or 2 or 3 jobs and having a couple side hustles. I mean, who does that? Who does that? We black women do in America. And we're taught that that's our role. We're taught that that's what we are supposed to do. We're supposed to overwork ourselves. And so when I was in Liberia, I saw that that was a myth. I saw that people who look like me actually didn't overwork themselves. And oftentimes when they were in a position where they had a very strenuous job, they hired help. They had cooks and drivers and house help because all that is entirely too much for one individual to be doing. So the idea that we're supposed to do all this and have balance and achieve and develop success and, maintain our finances, it's just a myth. But I also recognize too that having access to resources to provide you with help in the areas of labor is not something that is only available to the white, wealthy, elite class of people. It was just so beautiful for me to see Black people who were able to access those types of resources and services, and it was normal. It wasn't considered abnormal or unusual. It wasn't associated with oppression, manipulation. It was something that was a normal part of the culture to be able to hire help, and the help looked like you. So there was no issue of racism associated with having help in the area of labor. I also learned through my experience that America is dysfunctional. Um, so we are often taught in America, that we're better. And I realized how dysfunctional that thinking was, especially going into a country where I realized that the people that I was supposedly better than were bilingual and trilingual. They were not only speaking, now in Liberia, I will say that the language is English. They speak English. But there were often people that I came across who spoke French and English and a couple of other languages. And I was actually thinking to myself, how is it that I have this aura of superiority, thinking that I'm actually better when I really haven't even had an opportunity to have a realistic comparison? I'm believing something that I've been told. So it's just very eye-opening, very eye-opening experience. I also will say that I really appreciated a takeaway, which was, and this will be my final point, I really appreciated the slower pace of life. And I'm grateful that I had an opportunity to see that in action. Jobs there are predominantly government, or people are self-employed, so they have their own shops or their own businesses. And so with that being said, nobody's punching clocks. Nobody's in a rush to get to a certain place at a certain time for the most part. And so there's a level of hospitality that you just don't experience in America. There's a level of feeling welcomed and feeling comfortable and not feeling like you are causing an inconvenience for someone by being in their space. People have a willingness to take time to spend with you, to chat with you during the day, not that it has to be after 5 p.m. or just on the weekends, but people actually have the ability to take the time to connect with you, whenever it's convenient. So I really appreciated that. So I don't know, let me know in the comments if you have had an opportunity to travel to any of the countries on the continent of Africa, and maybe some of the things that you learned that were surprising to you, or some of the things that you're grateful for, or some of the things that now might be pretty common in the year 22 and maybe common knowledge for people now that we're all on the internet and hopefully a lot more informed than we were in the past. But I'm so grateful for being able to have had the experience for myself personally and not have to hear it from someone else. And, I was very, very passionate and still am about encouraging people who have not. I think it's one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself to take a trip to Africa for yourself so that you can see for yourself and have that experience for yourself, because it is life-changing, eye-opening, and I think personally you'll never be the same. So thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I'll link Ashley in Africa's video below where you can take a look at her video. She provides content on her experience in Africa, which I really, really enjoy. I also watch Wodi Maya and Miss Trudy, and they travel around the continent of Africa and provide very, very good content, especially from natives of Africa. But I also think it's valuable to have insight from African Americans who travel to Africa, and that's one of the reasons why I do enjoy Ashley in Africa's channel as well, because our experience is different. You know, we just have to be honest. We have to be honest that our experience as African Americans in Africa is different than that of natives. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.